Good afternoon. This is Cindy Cipher. I'm really the Walmart greeter today because Josh is going to do the lion's share of all of this. But we're excited to have you with us for our first ever webinar and to use this technology. We're recording this so that it will then be available on our website for you to go back to again, or for other employers who weren't able to join us today to be able to utilize as a resource. So thank you. We look forward to your questions throughout the webinar, and I will welcome Josh on board. Oh, actually, I'm known for this. I always forget something that I want to say. And the one thing that I did wanted to say is that those of you who are on the webinar who are university employers or approved off-campus work-study employers, I wanted to remind you of our upcoming student job fair in January. It's going to be on Wednesday, January 25th from 11 to 3. Same format as the job fair in the fall. It'll be in the main lounge of the IMU. We hope to have a wide range of students who will attend the event. You could interview that day if you choose to. If you've not already signed up for it, we would have sent emails out earlier, but if you can't find the email with the link to the registration, just email student-employment@uiowa.edu and we will resend that registration link to you. We would be happy to have you join us that day.
All right, thank you, Cindy. So if you guys have questions throughout, you can use one or two ways of asking it. You can use the webinar chat. Honestly, I'd rather, if you have the question, somebody else probably has it. So I'll try to keep up. You can use that chat, or you could use the question and answer link at the top of Zoom. If you utilize that one, I'll try to keep up with that, but I'll probably take more of those questions toward the end when we're finished up with the webinar. As we get started here, so hopefully just another Y on the chat, if you can see my screen okay, is I'll be utilizing this. We won't have a PowerPoint or anything today. I just basically want to show you how HireaHawk works, how to best utilize it. We're also going to see the student side of it, which you won't be able to do normally. So I'll kind of show you and go through what students see. And hopefully that'll give you some idea of why we're giving certain tips as we go throughout the webinar today. So HireaHawk.com. So we're just going to start right on the normal website right here. So there's a couple logins there. As you can see, the employer register and login is obviously the one that you want to have and go to. The one thing to keep in mind too is we've spent some time to create tutorials and resources for you guys. So realistically, you're not going to remember everything Cindy or I say today. So if you need assistance or forget something that we went over, there's a link called How to Post and Manage Student Employment Positions, Tips and Tricks. So we literally will go through here. There's a table of contents, and we'll kind of give you pictures and highlights and descriptions of everything that we're going to talk about today. So this can help you for review if there's anything that you forget or have questions on. And then as always, we're free in student employment to answer any questions you have or help out in any way we can too. So as we get started, I know the majority of you guys are already signed up or have a profile. So I'll go through this fairly quickly. If you already have a profile, it's a simple sign in. But if you're signing up and creating a profile, one of the things that you want to understand is the organization part. Sometimes we'll get questions and people confused on that one. If you're a UI employer, so work at the University of Iowa and employ students on campus, simply put UI. You could put Office of Student Employment. So I would keep it simple, just name your department. So that is what's going to show up when students see who the job is posted by. So this information is actually not approved through us in Student Employment, the Career Center. We're in partnership with them on HireaHawk. So they are the ones who approve the profile. So it's fairly simple. Nonprofit is always going to be yes if you're an on-campus employer. This is one where we're hiring for student employment positions only. Make sure you hit yes on that one. Any of this other information, honestly, from a student employment standpoint, you can put as much or as little information as you want. This stuff, the profile, the company description, logo, that type of stuff that I'll show you in a bit, that is used mostly for our national employers, for internships, full-time jobs, stuff like that. But you can put something with regards to a profile. If you want to just list your department name, that's fine as well. Employer industry, you can select as many that apply, but honestly, probably academic education for you guys is perfectly fine. Some services there, basic information. If you have a website, post it here. If you don't, it's just simply nowebsite.com. So pretty simple there. I won't go through that information. It's very basic. You're going to read through our parameters. The one thing to know about our student employment jobs is we're pretty picky as far as who we're going to post jobs for. It's got to be within a 30-mile radius of Iowa City and the University of Iowa campus. So we kind of utilize that, and we look through the positions before we post them to make sure that we are avoiding any type of scams and stuff like that can pop up from time to time. So that is simply a simple profile overview. So the profiles usually are approved within 24 to 48 hours by the Career Center. Once those are approved, you're eligible to post jobs. So let's say we have our profile now. So let's go ahead and log in, and we'll get rolling here. That is, if I can type everything in correctly. All right, there we go. Okay, so here's the general home screen. So any announcements that we have, or the Career Center has, any type of events that are coming up, they'll post it here. Registration for the spring job and internship fair. So that is, for the majority of that is for internships and full-time employers. Cindy, maybe we can talk to them about getting our post up there. So there we go.
Announcement up there, but
yeah,
they can't do the registration.
Yeah, so maybe we'll post something up there soon. So idea generation as we go through here today. So profile, so you can see kind of all these different areas, and you can post as much as you want. Frankly, like I said, for us in student employment, we just keep it pretty basic. So there's all these different areas you can go into. So if a student's searching and they just want to look and find out more information about your department, they can click on you, and this is what's going to come up. So I don't think with student jobs, students are using this a great deal. So it's up to you whether or not you want to spend the time on stuff like that. So jobs and internships, I think this is the main thing we're going to discuss for the most part today. So when you go to jobs and internships, we're going to basically set up a test job here. So this is pretty much the screen you're going to see if you haven't posted jobs or don't have any active jobs. For this exercise, I've actually posted a test job, so you can see kind of generally what the screen is going to look like once you post. So for us, these two applicants are myself and our student worker, but I'll give you a little bit of information on why this is important based on how you post your job and how this can help you track applicants as we go through. So as you can see right on this page, when you do have a job posted and it gets approved through us in student employment, you can withdraw it at any time. So the benefit of this system is you don't have to wait. So even if it expires and you post it for 2 months, you can take it down at any time. And the benefit too is once you withdraw that job and take it down, it gets automatically archived for you. So you're not, if you post the same job every semester or every year, you're not going to have to redo it over and over and over and redo the whole thing. So I'll show you a little bit about this later. We're going to go through a job and posting a job just like you would if you're starting from scratch. So most of it is basic information, but I do want to go through the majority of these just to give you information on how students see it and what can give you a competitive advantage over others who are posting jobs, and some of the things that we have seen that have kind of limited applications and so forth. So the first things first is you got to select student employment if you're hiring our student employees for part-time work. Once you hit student employment, it's going to change the boxes under here as we scroll down that you have to go through. So if you selected full-time or didn't select anything, you're going to have to pretty much redo a lot of it because they're going to have different attributes associated with them. So we do have some archived jobs. So if you want to see jobs you've posted before, you hit Show Archived, drop down comes by, and you can click on any that have been archived before. So if I select the office assistant job, it's everything that I did for that job is already going to be posted for me, so I don't have to redo it. There's a couple things if you're doing that to keep in mind. The semester available, that's not going to be updated, so you're going to have to update that. So in our case, we're going into spring 2017. Also, the posting date. So obviously the posting date is going to be different than it was a year ago, but everything else stays the same. So unless you want to change something, you don't have to redo it. You can keep it the same year to year. Honestly, I would encourage you to at least look through it to make sure everything is similar and everything is still relevant for you. But that can be a good benefit as far as the time saver goes. All right. So one of the things that you have the ability to do through HireaHawk is to restrict applications. Now you don't have to do this, but if you select yes to restrict applications, you have the ability to restrict based on some registration information that we have on the student, such as grade level, their major, things of that sort. So this will help you say, like, let's say you have, for us, we want somebody that can give at least a year commitment. Okay, so we don't really want seniors to apply for our position. We're looking for freshmen through junior. So if we restrict applications, there's going to be screening criteria that pops up way at the bottom. So if we did not want seniors to apply, you can use the control key to select as many as you want. We can select freshman through junior. And one thing that employers, and it's a little bit confusing, a bachelor's, if it says bachelor's as a degree level, that doesn't mean they need to have a bachelor's. It simply means that they're going for a bachelor's at this time. So what this is going to do, if we utilize this screening criteria, you can screen by major as well if we were looking for a certain type of major, like an engineering major or something like that. You can select as many that apply. There's also all majors, so you don't have to go through and select all of them to save you a little bit of time there. So let's say we were looking for engineering majors. This is going to allow us to avoid getting applicants that don't match what we're looking for. Okay, so students, and I'll show you when I go to the student portal, but students are going to see something when the job posts. So they're going to see the job, but it's going to say in red, not qualified. So it does not allow them to apply for the position. So if you're really looking for something specific in your students, from that standpoint, you have the ability to screen them out. If not, a simple no and move forward. Title of your position. So this is where you can really sell the position. So any office assistant job, those get a lot of play, honestly, with our students. Any creative titles you can come up with, I'd encourage you to do so. I know we've worked with CAN bus, so if they're a CAN bus driver, they'll put something like this: CAN bus driver, $13 an hour. So we've recommended that and talked with them through that. So right when a student sees the job, they can see what kind of their big selling point is, which is the amount of money they're going to make per hour on that job. So it's up to you how you want to do that. Probably the most important category, in my opinion, when it comes to how students are going to search for you is completing the job category section correctly. And this will probably take you the most time, as you're going to be scrolling through quite a few options. A lot of times you can, a lot of times with regards to the job category, we see folks, they'll put one thing and that's it, when they could probably have 6, 7, 8 different job functions that match that job. So the main thing there is to select as many that apply. Because as you'll see when I go to search as a student, we are teaching students when we talk to them to use an advanced search function, and one of the things they look for is the specific job category that they're interested in. So they're not scrolling through 400 or 500 jobs, they're looking at 20 to 30 jobs. You want to show up in as many of those searches as possible. And Victoria, I see a question there. Can grade point average ranges be added? Here's the thing with GPA, you can, not under the restrictions, but you can request a certain GPA. The one thing though to understand with that is the students need to be honest with you unless you ask for some type of unofficial transcript. So you have the ability to ask for that, but you can't screen them based on that criteria. So if I'm going through, I'm going to list, and again, you can control and select as many as you can. This is probably our most popular administrative office support services. We have a ton of jobs in that area. But I mean, I've seen jobs where you realistically can say, hey, 10 of these categories match. And I'm just going to select a few here. Say community service, customer service. So, okay, so let's say there's 4 of them. All right, so if a student wants a job or wants to see jobs in those categories and they search for that, you're going to pop up in any of those categories. All right, so it's going to be a benefit for you in that regard, the more you select. Now, we have also had a couple people try to post every single one of those, and we will catch that and make it accurate. So just save us some time if you would, and just make sure to select anything that's relevant. And you know, if we can, we'll add to it for you. But we'd encourage you to look through all of them. Within the job category too, we do have, since this is a vended product, there's some things we can and cannot change with it, but we do have the ability to add job categories if we see some type of category or job function that matches or that we're missing on this list. So very important category there. Another very important category is job description. This is where, in my opinion, you differentiate yourself from others on campus and even off campus as far as similar jobs. So if you have an office assistant job, there's a ton of jobs within that job category, okay? So if I'm going against 30 other people, there's going to be a big difference from somebody, if I'm looking at it from a student perspective, somebody who posts 5 or 6 words, which we've had for a job description, or somebody who goes into great detail within that job description. So, you know, some of the things I would really encourage you to have is not just responsibilities and saying what tasks they might have, so you can bullet that or something. What will you learn? So how is this job going to help them moving forward? What professionalism skills are they going to gain? So, I mean, you could have something, something like, of course, I can't type today. Customer service, communication, problem solving. I think you get the drift with that. But think of transferable skills that they can utilize, not just on your job, but moving forward. Try to make it as attractive to them as possible. Other things within the job description that you can post is, you know, if there's any advancement opportunities, meaning, you know, and I always recommend this to some employers, you know, a team leadership position, something like that. Any way you're going to be judged, is there monthly reviews, semester reviews, any information you can provide that gives them kind of a picture in their head of what that job's going to be all about. Okay, so that's what I would try to do from a job description standpoint. And And we get that all the time with regards to questions on, hey, why am I not getting as many job applicants as we're looking for? And I can go out and I can say, well, you need to improve your job description. So we'll have very similar jobs, and one will get 30 applicants and another will get 2. And a lot of it can be tied back to the effort they put into their job post. So just something to keep in mind there. You got the great check spelling tool as well, which can be helpful. We will try when we check your posts to, we're going to read through them. So if there is spelling mistake or something like that, we do try to correct those for you. Semester available, we kind of discussed that. One thing we're doing now is if you select fall 2016, we're moving them for you to spring 2017. So just think of this one as a semester they're starting to work, okay? So right now, I'd consider now, even during break, to be spring. Again, students have the ability, and we're coaching them to search based on the semester they're gonna be looking for employment. Good question, Julia. Right now, there should not be any word or character limits. We have in the past had some issues with the qualifications section down here. Those should be updated and fixed by Simplicity, the vendor we go through at this point. If we see anything getting cut off, we're going to notify you, and we'll make sure it gets corrected in there correctly. Now, we have had some trouble at times with Internet Explorer. If any of you use Internet Explorer still, we've had less trouble with Google Chrome and Firefox with regards to that happening. But please, if you see that happening, please notify us, because we have to talk to the vendor about getting that fixed if possible. So work study. The one thing to keep in mind here, this doesn't mean it's a work study only, okay? Yes just means you're gonna accept work study. And if you are a campus employer, there's no reason not to accept work study, because it's only gonna help you out. So even if you select no, if you're a campus employer, we're gonna move that to yes for you. So for those of you, I'm not gonna go into work study in detail, but you're basically getting reimbursed for half. So if you pay a student $10 an hour, you're getting reimbursed for $5 an hour of that. On campus, yes or no? And here's how that works. If you are UI affiliated, even if you are out in the research park or something like that, we're still going to post yes. You could be right, if you're not affiliated with the University of Iowa, you're off campus. Doesn't matter if you are right across the street from the Pentacrest, you're still considered off campus. We've added this, and this has helped a little bit because, you know, there's some students that don't have a car, but there are some jobs that are still close or within an easy bus route. So if you want to have I think there's a research park, CAN bus that goes out there, you can put a bus route just to make that job a little bit more attractive to students. This one is mostly for internships and full-time. We know you're local, but we do want to put the city. So simple Iowa City, Iowa, United States. So pretty simple there. Couple things. Hospital, good question, Melissa. Hospital is considered on campus. So we're always posting anything UIHC is going to be considered on campus. Good question. So hours per week, TBD, we won't approve that, okay? Make sure that you have some type of hours in there. It could be arranged, 1 to 20, 10 to 20. Just keep in mind, during the school year, 20 hours is the max that we're going to post for on-campus employers. If you want somebody to work 20 hours a week during school and maybe 40 hours during break, you can put something like 20 hours during academic year, 40 hours during break. We're perfectly okay with that. Okay, but make sure you have a number there. It can be arranged too, that is fine. Hourly wage, commensurate, not going to accept that. Okay, so you can have a range again. You could put $10 to $12 pending experience or something like that. That's fine, but you got to have some type of number in there. Duration, if it's ongoing, that's what you would put. If you have a job, there's some people that'll post jobs, hey, we only need somebody from January 15 through March 15. So that's the point there. You could put 2016 to 2017 academic year if you're only needing them for one school year. So that's pretty much what duration is going to consist of there. Good question, Candace. We're almost to that part, so I'll definitely be going through that. Yeah, so Victoria, as far as the question about providing guidance or a link for the average hourly wage based on job classifications and descriptions, every year, right, Cindy? Yeah, so every year there is a wage scale. Yeah, so there's a wage survey that goes out based on your job code. And will give information on how many employers are paying this amount. We'll have an average, a median, those type of numbers as far as the wage goes if you're needing help with that. So that's on the student employment website. You actually have to go through our financial aid website first. And then you can get to our student employment page and we'll have that information front and center there.
By the end of January, the updated one will go out.
Okay, so Cindy, just some information from Cindy too. By the end of January, we're gonna have an updated wage scale for this past year. Good question. So degree level, so here's how HireaHawk works. So as far as degree level goes, every semester, all the new students are uploaded into the system and having access to HireaHawk. Our students that are bachelor's students, undergraduate students are paying a career services fee as part of their costs. So they are automatically uploaded. Master's students are not, okay? So if you're looking for bachelor's or master's or just master's students, our master's students can get access to HireaHawk student jobs, but they have to go through the Career Center. It's a pretty simple process, but they have to go through the Career Center to get approval and to get a temporary ID and password for the HireaHawk system. Have you considered adding the link next to the hourly wage field as far as the pay scale goes? We haven't. I don't know if that is possible. I would love to have that though. I don't know if that'll be possible, but that's something we can definitely discuss with the Career Center and Simplicity to see if that's something that we could even do. So class level, please enter all desired class levels. So maybe you're not going to restrict applicants, but maybe you would prefer freshman through junior, or maybe you would prefer upperclassmen. So this is not going to restrict students from applying that don't meet that criteria, but it is going to notify them that you might give first preference to those in that grade, at that grade level. This is kind of a new section here under desired skills. Basically, this goes kind of with my my suggestions as far as job description, to go through, hey, what are you going to learn? What skills do you need to have to be successful in this job? You can list up to 10. The cool thing about this is once you start typing something, it's going to give you a list. You can create your own, or you can kind of go through here, start typing something in, and it might think of something for you. So you have the opportunity to add, it's not a required field, but you can add as many or as little things as possible with regards to that. Desired majors, most people, if you honestly don't have a big preference on what their major is, the majority will click all majors. Visa sponsorship. If you work for the University of Iowa, you can put yes here. If you are posting and you're an off-campus employer, that's going to depend That's going to depend on your policies within your organization, okay? Qualifications. So Candace, we're getting to your question here with the required work schedule, but qualifications, this is something where you can put any other qualifications or skills that you need, you want these students to have to be good at the job. If you are a work study only employer, this is where I put, and I'll put it in all caps, work study students only, okay? That's something that I suggest for anybody that asks. Otherwise, there's a possibility you can get students to apply that don't have work study. And we'll get into it in a minute, another way you can do that. So this would be things like must be able to lift 50 pounds or something like that. So you can put, again, as much or as little as you want. Great people skills recommended. You know, those are the type of things that you can add within the qualification section.
With work study, you know, they can get it off of my UI verification.
Required work schedule. So this is where you're going to be able to post when you're hiring for. So my advice on this one is to be as specific as possible, to encourage applicants to get people that are actually available at the times you want them to work. If you need somebody at a specific time, make sure to let that be known. Like if you're Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, 15 to 20 hours per week, minimum 3-hour shifts, something like that. Or you could list out, hey, Monday, your shift is 8 to 11:30, Tuesday, 8:30 to 10:30. So you can do it however you want to, but the more detail you put into that, and the more you have a desire, you want to get the desired applicants there, the more specific you get, the better. Yeah, Julia, good question. You should be able to move those skills around, I believe, but I would put them and kind of rank them in order. So it looks like you can just, yeah, it looks like it's not letting you do that. So if you can think of those in order, I would just list them out that way. Here's where you have some options. So you have the ability to utilize the system to your advantage, and I'll show you that potential advantage here in a second, but you have the ability to receive applications however you want to. So you have options of email, accumulate online, other, or any and all of them, okay? If you are an employer who wants to get the applications yourself or have them go to a website and fill out your own application, you're going to want to select other. When you select other, a how to apply button is going to come up and the box is going to come up there. So you could type in something like, please email resume to me. Now select additional, what documents are needed, resume. Please email resume to me. And let's say I am work study only. I might select other and say, please email resume to me as well as work study verification document. And students can find their work study verification documents under their My UI folder under financial aid. So they have the ability to do that. So if you want to, again, kind of cut down on unnecessary applicants and make sure they have work study, you can require them to do that. If you have any special instructions, you can post them here as well. The one thing to keep in mind is the more information you ask for, the less applicants you are going to get. And that could be a great thing if you want to limit the applicants. But one thing that I've noticed is students are freaked out by cover letters, okay? If you really think you need a cover letter, and there are some jobs that are advanced enough where I think that's necessary, tell them what you want in your cover letter under requested document notes, okay? So that way they have kind of a head start. There's resources out there to help them, but students usually need quite a bit of help up front. And I've talked to people directly that say, hey, I see that they need a cover letter and I just skip the job. Now, the attitude isn't good because they're going to have to learn how to write a cover letter anyways. But if you're paying minimum wage for a job, do you really need a cover letter? So those are just things you want to make sure to think about. Another thing with the resumes is their first resume, if they're submitting it via HireaHawk, it has to be approved by myself or a Career Center representative, and that can take 24 to 48 hours. And a lot of them, they'll basically get some feedback and say, hey, we don't want you to use this to apply for jobs until you make these type of improvements. So that can delay how fast you get resumes in as well. The positive of that is we're getting students earlier in their careers to create resumes that are solid, or at least a good start, which is a great thing about the system. And Kristen will definitely be getting into that question. Same with you, Victoria. So that's the other. So I mean, a lot of folks want to have them go to their website or something like that, and that is completely fine. You can even attach your own application here if you want. The other options are email and accumulate online. The one thing I'll tell you about email, that basically just means that once students apply for the job, so you're just asking for a resume at this point, once they apply for the job, the automatic email, once you select email, it's going to pull up the profile email. You can type in anything you want though. That doesn't mean students can see it, okay? So a lot of times we get the mistake where they should click other and list their email and that they want it sent to them, and they just hit email because they think students can see it. That's not what the email does. It just will notify you. So if I applied for this test job, student employment at uiowa.edu is going to get an immediate email from Simplicity that tells them somebody applied to the job. So, I honestly recommend, if you want that assistance, you can check email and accumulate online. Then you're going to get an email when things post, and the system's going to help you track documents as they accumulate online as well. Does that make sense to everybody? So one thing within email and accumulate online, so for this test job that we're going through, we had listed email and accumulate online. If you have it email or accumulate online, it's automatically going to request that the students complete a general student employment application. Okay, it's very simply a standard application that we created through student employment that we thought would give necessary information to you guys as employers. Now, if you want to use your own, that's completely fine, but there is one out there for you, so you don't have to create your own if you don't want. So if I go back to my job postings, you're going to see the applicants as they come in. So if I click on that job, there's student documents up here. So it's tracked to student documents. You can see when it's submitted. If you have multiple applicants, you can even rank them as you come in if you want. You can sort by rank, date submitted. So if you want to see who submitted it first and reach out to them first, you can. One thing I really recommend is utilizing the batch option. So if I know that Martin is way better than me and I'm not going to hire myself, I might hit mail to check. It's going to pull up an email, and you can send an email to multiple people at the same time if you want, letting them know that, hey, we have moved on, we've selected another candidate, thank you for applying, however you want to do that. You can also put it in Excel if you want to track it that way. Generating a book, and we'll get to that in a minute, that's going to allow you the opportunity to get an email with all the documents you received. So if you want to keep them for future reference, I definitely recommend using that before you withdraw the job. Good question, Julia. It's automatically if you just want a resume, but you want it through the system, it's going to automatically do that. Unfortunately, there's something has to be submitted. So it's automatic. We have to choose at least one thing, and we chose that general student employment application. Okay, so Andrea, good question as far as printing the job. So let me go in here. The preview button, I definitely recommend utilizing that. If you hit the preview button, this is exactly how the student sees the job. Okay, and you can print it off of that page. So you have the ability to do that through the preview button. Good question.
Do you want to show them the student views?
I will. All right, so finishing up. So this gives you this is a benefit of the system, is it gives you the option to get help if you want. I like utilizing the online system just for the simple fact that it helps you with tracking, and it allows you to do things a lot easier. If you have your own method, great, but this gives you the option to do either or. All right, so just going down, the benefit too of HireaHawk, you don't have to list your contact information at all unless you want to. If you do, it's going to pull up your information from your profile, but you can delete this and start over, or add as little or as much information from contact information as you want. Automatic application packet generation. If you're getting people to apply online, I always say select yes, because when you withdraw the job, it's going to automatically email you every document that you got through that application process. So I've had employers before who say, okay, I withdrew the job and didn't hit the automatic application packet, so now I can't see who applied to those jobs before. Where they could, and I suggest, hey, maybe there's you only had one position, but there's 2 students you liked, and that student leaves after a semester. I mean, if you can contact that person back because you have their documents, maybe you don't even have to post the job next semester. So I would always put yes there. Posting date, again, I always say post longer than you think you're going to need, because you can always withdraw it at any time. Once you submit, it comes to us in student employment. We do everything we can every day usually we're checking jobs twice a day. So you should get your job posted a lot of times within the same day. A lot of times maybe it'll be the next day, okay? Student views over here, you can actually see when you look at your job how many people have clicked in this job. So unfortunately, I've clicked in here a lot of times, so it says 33 people have looked. That doesn't mean 33 unique people. It just means people have viewed this job that many times. So that can give you an idea of how you're doing and how many people are looking at your posts. That's one thing, Andrea, that you cannot do is look at other job ads. We can pretty much give you a rundown on what they're going to look like. Everything we tried to do through this tutorial today and through, through the webinar today and our tutorials is to give you as much information to make yours stand out. If you kind of follow through those things, we've intentionally created it to tell you, hey, this is what makes a really good job description. If you want information on that, we can give you some general information on what others in the category might look like. All right. I'm about to go to the student view for about 10-15 minutes to finish up today. Do you guys have any final questions on how to post a job or how to look at documents or anything like that? Great question, Melissa. Absolutely. So if you go to your job posting, click on it. I can change anything at any time. The only thing to keep in mind is if you change anything, you have to submit it and it goes back through us within student employment. But like I said, we're trying to get that turnaround to be as quickly as possible. So usually our student worker is doing the jobs. If not him, it'll be myself, and we will get through them as quick as possible. We try to leave every day before we leave the office. We try to make sure there's no jobs in there. So, it's our goal once you make those updates to get that job back out there as quickly as we can. As far as the notifications, they stay applied unless you create a whole new job. They're not really notified of any changes unless you tell them on your end. Yeah, absolutely, Victoria. So the question from, Melissa, can you edit the job after being posted? That's a big thing. I think you have the ability to do that. It just has to go through us. All right, any final questions? And I'll probably stick around a few minutes after if you have any other questions you want to make sure to get answered to. So, all right, I'm going to sign into my student account and kind of give you a view. I think it's important for you guys to understand what the students go through within their job search. I think that'll kind of lend itself to say to you and say, okay, this is why our office and student employment is really recommending you do these certain things with your job description. All right. So for me, I can see how many people have looked at my resume. I'm following, so I'll show you what they can do. They have the ability to follow you if they want. So like just for example purposes, I follow UIHC. So just like any other social media feed, in my news feed is going to be any new jobs that are posted or any news specifically to those organizations that I follow, as well as general announcements from University of Iowa. So I can see that. Most of what they're going to utilize is the current posting. So if they go to search and apply, the one thing that they have to keep in mind and that we've tried to educate students on is there's 2,000 jobs out there, okay? Not all of them are student employment though. So, our goal and one of the benefits of teaming up with the Career Center though with student employment is we're getting students to utilize this resource earlier on in their college careers, which I think is going to be huge. We're getting more students who know how to use it because it's basically employers coming here and saying, hey, we want to hire Iowa students. So it's a missed opportunity if they're not utilizing it. But when they search, they're going to be searching specifically for student employment jobs. So there's 285 student employment jobs out there now. I guarantee that's going to probably double in the next week as students get started here. So that's when most jobs post. I highly recommend for you guys posting jobs much earlier than that, okay? You're going to beat the mad rush and not getting lost in the kind of the shuffle of so many jobs posting at the same time. You're also going to hopefully get students who are very proactive in their job search. So just as I would tell you, hey, post your job early, there's no harm in having it out there. For students, why would they want to wait for the other 3,000-4,000 students to get back here at the university? That's a lot more competition. So be proactive and apply for jobs early during breaks, during summer before the fall, during winter break before the spring semester. So they are automatically shown by date posted, but students can kind of do what they wish as far as how they sort it. If you remember me talking about not qualified, so I'm considered a senior in my fake profile, so I am not qualified for this position. If I wanted to see why, it tells me I don't match a desired class level, so they don't want seniors. Okay, so it's going to tell them if they really want to see it, but it does not allow me to apply for the job. All right. While students, the one thing too, within the job description, within your title, you want to be as detailed as possible because it's going to help you show up within these searches. We recommend the advanced search for students just because if you use the general search box function, the problem with that is the problem you have anytime you go to Google and try to find something. You get 2 million results no matter what you ask about, right? So, we recommend the advanced search option. So the one thing about the advanced search option is it has options for full-time internship and student employment jobs. So we focus, when we talk to students about setting up their search, we focus on a couple different categories. The position type, which we already filtered it out by, the semester available. So let's go spring. And then on campus. If they want on campus, they select yes. So that's 3 of them. And then the job function. So I'm just going to select some of them. So I tell students, hey, go through, select any of them that you think would remotely be interesting to you. So I'm going to select a few where I know there's going to be some hits here. All right, so I selected, if I'm the student, I select 6, okay? Hit the search function. There's 47 results. That's a lot easier to go through than 287 jobs, right? So it kind of breaks it down a little bit more for them. What they have the ability to do as well is they can hit this star button and actually favorite jobs. So if they don't have time, they just to apply for any at this moment, maybe they're in between classes, they can star specific jobs. If they do that, they're going to show up under my favorites, so they don't have to go through that entire process again. Okay? All right. So UI College of Law, I don't know if any of you guys are here, but if I clicked on that, that's going to show an overview, basically any information that you post, as we talked about earlier with the employer profile. Again, I don't think a lot of students do this a ton, but if they were interested in the College of Law specifically, it does post all their available positions if there's more than one, which can be a benefit to the student. All right, so let's see. And as far as applying for jobs, if you hit other, okay, so if you hit other and require a resume or application or anything like that, how to apply is going to pop up on the right-hand side here. So the top right. So application should be sent to Peggy. They're requesting this information, okay? So you go through the description, the student's going to go through and see exactly what they need to know about the job. If it works for them, great. This is how I apply. They can shoot an email over to Peggy in this case. And then I know I found one earlier. Okay, so this, like how to apply, please apply online. So you're going to see that. Let me see if we find one here that's, yeah, the test one. Okay, so I already applied for that one. So as they apply, they're going to see that. All right, here we go. So I'm you, production assistant. So if you want them to apply via the HireaHawk system, this apply button is going to pop up, but it's only going to pop up for students if they have the correct documents. So if they don't, they're going to get a long message here that says you don't have a student employment application or you don't have a resume. It's going to tell them what they need to be able to upload in order to apply for the position. So if I hit apply, they're asking automatically again for the student employment application. I have a couple on here, and that's all. They're not asking for anything more. If they're asking for a resume, you're going to see the same drop-down box, and you select the resume, and they can submit. It literally takes the students 2 seconds if they have the right documents in place to apply for jobs online.
How we suggest that they have more than one application with the work available schedule for each semester.
All right. Yeah, so you're getting a bunch of employers are going to do it different ways. Okay, they're going to have different descriptions, more details, a very detailed description, very detailed qualifications. So if you need any examples, honestly, I have a ton of job description examples. If you need any help with that, any job specific policies, if you're wanting help with that type of stuff, I have a lot of that available and samples available for that if you need it. So when students go to apply, they're going to have different documents that they can upload. So here's some sample applications, when they've modified it, when I've last modified it. So these are the type of things that I can utilize to apply for jobs. So a lot of students, when they get started, if they struggle with HireaHawk, most of the time it is specifically because they can't apply because they don't have anything to apply with. So, you know, from their standpoint, under help, they're going to see a bunch of help there. There's a student employment application. And just to show you that real fast, like, it's going to be a very, very basic application. So here's just some of the information that is posted here. So it does ask them for work study availability, their time availability, that type of thing, to give you more information on whether the job works for them. All right, and as the student starts applying, it's going to pop up under My Applications, so you have the ability to track what they've applied to. You know, from an employer standpoint, the one thing I would tell you is a lot of them are very new to job searching. So we have to be a little bit patient with them. And at the same time too, we want to do them as many favors as we can from your standpoint. So if you have 20 applicants and you know who you're going to hire after a week, be courteous and email the students that didn't get it, because a lot of times what we've seen is students will sit there and wait to get a response until they get a final answer. So if they get no response, they'll continue to wait and pass some jobs up. So that's caused some students some issues in the past. So I think, especially if we're campus employers, if you use the system, it can be a really simple tool to use where you can do that and be courteous to the students there pretty quickly. All right, so there's a question. Is there a copy of the application available for us to look at? And we definitely can put one of those out on our website. From an employer's perspective, I don't know if it is out there. Let me try to see. And anyone else have any questions related to the student portion of HireaHawk?
The student can save the advanced search and it sends them jobs.
All right. Ah, there it is. Okay, so it's under Account and Document Library. So if you guys are looking to see what that student application has, or you want to use it as a basis to create your own, by all means, go for it. And the one thing I did forget to talk to you guys about from a student perspective is if they do an advanced search, for instance, so the search that that I showed you guys here a little bit ago. So if I did a spring search on campus, let's say administrative advertising, customer service. Let's say I do this search and I get 21 results, okay? If I like that search, students have the ability to save the search. So I could say spring 2017 job search. They can have the system email them new results daily. So if I save this search, anything that we post daily in student employment that is under those certain job functions and hit those categories, the student's going to get an email and say, 3 jobs meet your criteria today. And they can go right out, they can click on the link and go right out and see those 3 jobs. So it takes a lot of the legwork away for students while they're job searching as well. And if you're doing it appropriately as far as selecting the right job functions and everything, that's going to help you show up in those searches and get applications in a little bit quicker. All right, so that's pretty much all we wanted to make sure to show you today. So hopefully you got a little bit of information as far as how to make your application stand out. Just some of the functions of HireaHawk can really be used to your advantage. You know, if you utilize it right. Again, we do individual meetings with students. We do individual meetings with employers at times if you need help on making it stand out. If you want to call me directly and say, hey, how does this look? I'd be happy to look at it for you. We've had almost 2 years with the system now, so we have a pretty good understanding of what will help job postings stand out and how many applicants you might get. So if you have those questions, please feel free to email our office, student-employment@uiowa.edu. And one of us should answer that. If we need to set up an appointment, we can do that as well. So we'll stick around for any additional questions, but otherwise, thank you guys for participating today. We really appreciate it. I see there's some QAs up there. I'll get to those in a second, but we want to say thank you for joining us for our first ever webinar here.